The first huge, out of the blue trade involving an all-star player just happened. The shock of all shocks. Holy Herschel Walker, Brock. And it was not Kevin Durant. It was not Kyrie Irving. We got Mr. COVID all over the mic himself. Mr. French fuck himself is now a Minnesota Timberwolf. Which means, if you're doing a little quick math school, Minnesota now has $100 million locked up in their centers in a league that really doesn't give a shit about centers. What a strange trade on so many levels. How do we know this? Well, we got my man, Detective Brian Windhorst, was on the case, sussing this out on free agency night, sussing this out on First Take with the B crew, had them in circles, had their heads spinning. No one has had a better week on this week than Wendy. He has been very sus on what the Utah Jazz have been up to for a very, very long time. And for good reason, because we even talked about it on the podcast before. Why would Quinn Snyder dip out when he's owed $8 million each year for the next 2 years and is just going to go off into the sunset and collect unemployment checks and not get his damn health insurance just because this team needed a new change of scenery? That doesn't make no damn sense. And Wendy didn't think it made no damn sense either. So let's hit this clip and see what Brian Windhorst has to say.
I'm going to tell you something happened yesterday. The league executives are wondering what the heck it means. And it happened within 5 minutes. In fact, Adrian, the tweet right before, Adrian tweeted about Durant. He tweeted something else. It was a trade yesterday between the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets. It's a very strange trade. Very strange trade. And you'd really have to be a Jazz or a Nets fan to even know what I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
I don't even know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
I have
Pause. They are so lost. They don't know what the fuck he is talking about. She said, I am on the edge of my seat. They were like, huh? What? She's even like, I get notifications from Woj, but I don't even check them like that. She's like, listen, girl, this is deep cuts in here. You have to be deep inside the NBA to know what he's talking about. It's okay. You're part of the B crew.
Royce O'Neal, who is a role-playing three-point defensive shooter, to Brooklyn for a future first-round draft pick. And so you're going, well, what do you care about Royce O'Neal? Why does that matter? Why would the Jazz do that? Why would the Jazz, who have 2 stars on their roster, take a player who's one of their starters and best defensive players and trade him in a salary dumping move? Why would they do that?
Why
open
would
up
they do
space
that?
to try to land Kevin?
No, they're not getting Kevin Durant, girl. What? No! Don't you understand? It's right in front of you.
Why did Quinn Snyder walk away from that job?
Okay.
And you say, when Danny Ainge, last time he hired a coach, which was Brad Stevens.
Right.
What happened that same year? What did he do? When he hired this young coach who'd never coached the NBA before, and he gave him a long contract, gave Brad Stevens a 6-year contract. Will Hardy, who they just hired, who was, going to potentially be a great young coach, they gave him a 5-year contract. Very rare for a first-time head coach to get a 5-year
to it,
contract.
Woj.
Why? What's going on in Utah?
What's going on?
And that's what people in the league are watching right now.
Okay.
What's going on in Utah?
Okay.
And so I think the Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix Suns need to find out what's going on in Utah as well. Because what else happened that first year that Brad Stevens got hired? Danny Ainge traded Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
To the Brooklyn Nets.
So
It's time for a rebuild. It's time to everything must go. Everything. Donovan Mitchell, you are gone. Rudy Gobert, you are gone. Royce O'Neal, of course you're gone. Jordan Clarkson, you are gone. Everything must go in Utah. Trash Utah. Everything but the franchise must go. And if you're asking me, and you already know how I feel, I think the franchise can go as well. It's time to stack up on picks. It's the season of Trader Danny. He's not coming here to retool. He's not a mechanic. He's a full-on create a new car kind of GM. We know that. Are you serious? How do you not know that? What is going on indeed, Wendy? Dude has now become a meme. what is going on in Utah? You can't see his hand gestures, but he's putting up these little gun windshield wiper fingers, pointing. People are calling them the windshield windy wipers. Brilliant. Apparently, Minnesota thinks they can win right away because they gave up a ton. They gave up Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Rutrow. Bet he doesn't like that one. Walker Kessler, first-round pick this year. Jared Vanderbilt, Leandro Balmero, and 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. That is a lot for Rudy Gobert. That is so much to give up. I can't even explain that to you. This has to be the reason that Utah brought in Danny Ainge, because he is out there robbing people again. And that is what the Hamburglar Danny Ainge the Mormon does. He is the tear-down master. As Wendy said, this is exactly what he did in Boston. You hire a young coach, you fill him in on the details. Signing you to a long-term deal, kid. It's going to be a rocky road. 5-year deal for you, and 2 or 3 of those are going to be pretty stinky. But when we come out ahead, just know, and you fail at this, you'll be a GM of a contender. Just know that. Immediately trade everyone, build up a team through the draft. As for the Wolves, the Patrick Beverly era ended way too soon for me. After a very memorable season, at least he has a career at ESPN ahead of him, talking shit about the rest of his peers. I very much doubt he stays in Utah. So he and probably Malik Beasley are probably on their way out for more picks. Jared Vanderbilt, I love him. He's a bucket. Minnesota was very high on Leandro Balmero. First rounder, by the way, in 2020. People forget that. Walker Kessler, 22nd in this year's first round draft. So I want to know, what's next in Utah? Knowing these small market teams, they'll likely keep Donovan Mitchell until probably after the All-Star break, unless he just asks out or requests out now. I hear he wants to go to the Miami Heat, according to Fat Joe, the newsbreaker of all newsbreaker, Fat Joe. But I do think Donovan Mitchell will be on the move. Woj says that the Jazz want to build a new roster around him, but I don't think so.